here. Today I have a different type of video. Somebody left a comment asking information regarding the thyroid condition that I have and wanted me to talk about what I do to help my condition and to kind of help me feel better. So I decided that instead of writing a huge letter in my comment, I decided to just do this really quick video and kind of just talk about it, and I'm hoping that this video will help someone out there that is kind of going through this and that it'll just help them out a little bit. So my condition is hypothyroid, and so what that is when your thyroid does not produce as much hormones, which is the T3, T4 cells. It doesn't produce as much as your body needs. And then there's the other condition that is a hyperthyroid. And I am not really familiar with all of the symptoms of that particular condition, but I do know that the people that suffer from hypothyroid like me have a really sluggish system. The reason I found out that I had this condition is because I started having some symptoms that I was not familiar with. I do also suffer from fibromyalgia, and so that kind of made it confusing for me to get diagnosed with a thyroid condition, because a lot of the symptoms for fibromyalgia are also similar to the thyroid condition. I was just feeling very sluggish and just very lethargic. I would run out of breath basically just getting up from wherever I was sitting or laying down, and just to get up to go use the restroom or something, I would just be out of breath. I was thinking at first that my fibromyalgia was just getting worse, and I just couldn't figure it out, and I was already taking medication for fibromyalgia. So I figured maybe they just need to increase my dosage or something. I wasn't sure what was going on. But then I noticed also that my eyes would get bloodshot all of the time, and I wasn't sure why. I was thinking maybe just because I'm getting older, my eyes are becoming more sensitive or something. But I did notice my eyes were always looking bloodshot. My eyes were always looking kind of like a little bit yellowish instead of like the white area. Instead of looking white like it used to look a little bit more yellowish. And so I thought that was strange as well. And then the other symptom that I had was I was breaking out right here in this section of my face. I started to develop those really painful acne ingrown ones that are just kind of like inside, and they don't really like come to a head or anything, and they would hurt so bad, and they were all like right here in this section and like on my chin, all of this. And I didn't know what was going on, but I had heard that some people do get adult acne. Then another thing that started happening is I started losing my hair. So tons of hair would just fall out of my head. Like I'd shower and just like a big old bunch of hair would come out. I would brush my hair and hair would fall off. It was just too much. So just the fact that I ran out of breath pretty much just standing up, and I would get dizzy and I would just kind of see like little things, I thought, okay, I have to go get checked because this seems worse than the fibromyalgia. Because with fibromyalgia, I never noticed my hair falling out. I never noticed that my eyes were yellowish. And I also never noticed that I would stand up and run out of breath all of a sudden. And so I thought maybe this is something else, and I'm just gonna go get checked. So I went and I got checked. So my doctor said that I had symptoms of a thyroid condition, and they wanted to check my T3 and T4 levels. And so they did some blood work on me, and that's how they discovered that I had a hypothyroid condition, and I needed to be on medication in order to get my levels back up to the levels that I needed to be, where my hormones were going to be even. And they got me started on Thyroid, and Thyroid is usually the medication, or it's actually the name brand medication. It's the name brand medication for the Levoxion. I take only the name brand, and I will explain why. But nonetheless, I did start taking the medication, and I did notice that after taking it for about 3 weeks, I started to feel better, and my symptoms started to become less and less and less. But I never noticed that I felt 100% like I used to. I started to do a little bit more research on that because I was thinking, how come if I have all my hormone levels normal now, how come I still feel a little bit sluggish each day and I still struggle every day? And I knew that I already had fibromyalgia, but since I already had the fibromyalgia under control, I didn't think that it was that. So I did a little bit more research. Then one day I watched a program, the Dr. Oz show. I like to watch his show, and I learned some things on that show. And then I also did a little bit more research on it, and I did find that the information that he gave on there was kind of pretty right on. One key thing that he mentioned was that they had found that when people use the thyroid medication that is the generic brand, those people seem to have more problems than the people that actually just stick to the name brand. I know that kind of sounds strange, but the reason behind that is because they explained that with generic medication, you don't usually even get the same one each month. You sometimes get it from one manufacturer, then the next month you'll get it from another one. It just depends who gives them the best deal, I guess. And so there's more than one manufacturer out there making these generic brands, and each one makes it different. The actual main ingredient is the same. However, they do have fillers that they use to mix in with the medication. Each company uses different types of fillers, and the fillers do make a difference with the medication that they are combining it with, especially if you're a person that is sensitive to certain fillers. Certain fillers made the medication stronger, and certain fillers made the medication less potent, less strong, not because of the actual potency, but because of the way they would dissolve in your body. So some fillers make the medication kind of dissolve really fast, and some of them would make it dissolve slower. So that does affect how much your body absorbs out of it and how it affects your body. So that's why they were trying to inform people that if you are on thyroid medication, to make sure to ask your doctor to prescribe you only the name brand medication. That way you get the same consistent dosage every time, all the time, and your levels won't be going up and down, because that really does mess up your body. If one month your levels are a little bit higher, the next month they're lower. And if you guys know, thyroid medication is something that you have to be really consistent with, because otherwise it does affect you quite a bit. So talk to your doctor about that, and maybe do a little research on that and see if that is something that you want to do. For me, I have made sure that I only take the Thyroid brand. That way I know that each month I'm getting the same exact dosage, it's going to have the same exact effect on my body, and I'm not going to be going up and down, and I'm not going to mess myself up. So that's what I did. Another key thing with thyroid medication is that you take it every single day at the same time. That really does make a difference. I do notice that when I take my medications, like one day at one time, one day at another time, and like that, it does affect my body. It's kind of like if I'm taking different strengths or something, it does affect you. So it's very important that you do take the medication at the very same time every single day, and the best time to take it is in the morning for most people. I have heard that it works best at night for other people, but for the most part, they do recommend that you take it first thing in the morning. So even if you have to set an alarm to just take your medication, and even if, whatever you have to do, try to take it at the same time, and you will eventually see a difference in the way you feel. Another thing that I have found that has really helped me with this condition is to take a green supplement. I like to take the Green Vibrance. They're pretty pricey though, but they do have some other ones that are less expensive. And these types of drinks, they usually have spirulina, they have kale, they have spinach and things. I do notice that when I take that consistently, it does tend to help me. because it does have key ingredients that your body does need. And when you have a thyroid condition, you really need to nourish your body well. It just makes a big difference when you start eating a little better. I know that sometimes I get off track and I start eating junk again, but I try to at least make sure I take my greens every day, and I do see a difference when I do that. Another thing some people don't know is that there are some foods that do affect your medication. Some of those foods that interfere with my thyroid medication are grapefruit and almonds and kale and cabbage and some of the cruciferous vegetables. You have to be really careful with that. I'm not saying never eat those things. Talk to your doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm just sharing the information that I have learned and that has worked for me. But I try to kind of steer clear of those kind of things for the most part. Now, I did mention that my green drink does have some kale in it, but it doesn't have a lot of kale. It has more spinach and spirulina more than anything. I do notice I do feel better with it, even though it has it. But if I do eat cabbage or broccoli, a lot of those things, I do notice that I start to feel sluggish again. So it does affect the way I feel, which is strange because those are healthy things for your body normally, but if you are taking your thyroid medication, it does affect it. And that is definitely something that is worth looking into and trying to see how you feel when you eat those kind of things. And of course, like everything else, whenever you do have any type of condition, exercise helps a lot. I feel like a hypocrite saying that because I know I have been really bad about it myself. I do try, but sometimes I just don't feel good, and I just don't feel like exercising, quite honestly. But I know that when I do exercise consistently, even if it's just for 20 minutes every day, I do feel better. It's really hard, especially when you're not feeling well, but you don't have to do anything that is high impact. You just have to take a 20-minute walk, and that is just as good as anything else, because at least you're moving and you are getting your body to circulate more oxygen and your blood and everything. So exercise definitely does help, and like I said, it doesn't have to be anything strenuous. As long as you do get some type of exercise, it does help strengthen you and does help you, make you feel better. Another thing is drinking plenty of water, and I know that kind of sounds like something everybody says, but it does make a difference, because when you are hydrated, you do feel better. Whenever you don't hydrate yourself, you tend to feel sluggish. Also, another thing about the greens is that they also have helped my hair loss because of the nutrients, perhaps. But I do notice that it does affect my hair loss. Whenever I stop drinking them for a while, I notice my hair starts kind of falling out. But when I start taking it, it does really help it. Now, I'm not saying it stops it completely, but it does help it quite a bit. One last thing that I want to talk about is about rest. I know that there's like a preconceived notion that if you are resting too much, you're lazy. But when you have a condition like this and you're barely starting to take care of yourself, you do need the rest, especially because you're not recovered yet. So I would say that in the beginning, when you start your recovery process, try to get as much rest as possible, and just tell your family that what is going on and that you need to recover. And I got a lot of rest in the beginning. I know my house was a mess, and everything was kind of crazy around my house, but I just had to say, you know what, my body and my health is more important right now, and the house can wait. And it did wait. It waited quite a long time for me to start feeling better. And sometimes I would just feel really guilty, and I'd be like, I have to do something. So what I started to, if you're like me and you just have to have your house clean, and or feel like at least you did something, what I used to do is I did like a little calendar where I would set little goals each day. I would try to put at least 2 or 3 different things each day, but even if I just did one, I would feel accomplished because I knew I did something. Like, for instance, there was days that all I could do is throw 1 load of laundry and that was all the energy I had for the day, and that was it. And that was what I had to do. Then there was days that I could do a little bit more and I could accomplish all three things that I had on my list. For instance, maybe throw a load of dishes, throw a load of laundry, clean up the counters, or whatever it was. But just put little small goals on a calendar and try to do at least one thing each day if you're a person that has to feel accomplished for the day and feels like you just have to do something and not just be feeling guilty that you're resting all day. And that's what I had to do. In a lot of countries, people see rest as something that is good, and they actually cherish it, and they really put high importance to it. In Mexico, I know they have or had siesta time, and you know, in this country we really don't see any of that. I know that like in Europe, people when they eat, they actually sit down, and they sit down to eat like for 2 hours. And I'm not exaggerating. It's not that they're eating the whole time. It's because they're actually enjoying their meal. They actually take their time and relax and have a conversation with somebody and just relax and really rest. And we don't really tend to do that a lot. We don't cherish rest too much in this country. In this country, it's seen like laziness if you rest. But we have to change the way we think, and we have to also take a look at how unhealthy people are in this country versus how they are in other countries. Like in Europe, you don't see a whole lot of heart conditions in those countries, whereas here everybody is dying from heart attacks and cancer and this and that. So you know, sometimes we just have to take a look at those kind of things and slow down and see that those things are important. And it doesn't matter what other people say, it doesn't matter what other people think. You have to take care of yourself, and you will get whatever needs to get done eventually, or you could ask a friend to help you. The whole burden doesn't have to be on you, and you don't have to impress anybody. Just take care of your health. That is the most important thing. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything, because you can't enjoy anything if you don't have your health. I remember when I was feeling really bad in the beginning and I didn't know what was going on, and I couldn't even get up. I couldn't even enjoy my meals because nothing even tasted good. So if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. So cherish it and take good care of yourself. And yeah, those were the only things that I wanted to talk about, and maybe I'll do another video at some other point and if I get more information. But at this point, this is all the information that I have, and I hope that it helps you. And if you guys want me to talk about fibromyalgia, also let me know in the comments, and I will do a video about that, and you know, hopefully help somebody out. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're blessed and that you take good care of yourself. Till next time. Bye.